Well, a pilot test is basically a small and controlled experiment for your business idea. So it's a relatively inexpensive way for you to know whether or not it will work before heavily investing on it. So there are three main reasons why it's very important. First, it puts that product or service to the test. Do you need any improvement, any tweaking? Secondly is, it helps you figure out if there's really a market for it and what their possible response to your product will be. And third, and I think the most important of all, is it gives you an insight on the possible challenges that you may face as a business owner. So it will even give you an insight whether or not being an entrepreneur is for you. So when designing a pilot test, there are three main questions that should be answered by the end of it. So first is, does it work? Second is, does anyone want this? And third is, do you like being in business? And with the rule of threes, I'm going to tell you how you can design your very own pilot test. So by creating a prototype, creating your product story and selling it, and to scale and create your financial model. So let's go through it one by one. So first is creating that prototype, or basically a physical translation of your business idea, which you can sell. Why is it important? It's because your market needs to experience what your idea is for you to get feedback from them. So a very good example of that is what's trending right now, which is the fidget spinner. A couple of years ago, an IT person actually was very fidgety in a long meet. What he was doing was clicking his pen and being all fidgety in a meeting, and he wanted something to do with his hands. So what he did was go online and search for what he was really looking for, which was to distract him from these long, tedious meetings. And when he saw nothing, what he did was make a prototype and try to sell it online for around $300 to $500. And a couple of years after, you see a fidget spinner, which is a toy, trending worldwide. So making your own prototype can actually take you a long way, because that is a way for your market to experience it firsthand. Secondly is, you have to create your product story. In our head, sometimes, we have a business idea which seems so unique and something that you haven't even heard of. But when you start going online, you see all these similar ideas, and some which are actually already existing in the real world. So you have to create that differentiation on how will your business now differ from those that are already existing, and what will your business role will be in the lives of your consumers. Take for example, Campbell Pandesal. In the Philippine setting, where in almost all neighborhoods you have your neighborhood bakery or panaderia, why would you need a Campbell Pandesal? Well, San Miguel was talking to the potential business owners, those who actually want their own business but don't have the skills to be a baker. You can have your own business despite not needing to be a skilled baker, because they will provide you with the right ingredients, pre-mixed, so that it's perfect quality whenever, wherever. And that's what you need to do. And once you figure out your product story, you have to start selling it to strangers. Now, why strangers? It's because if you talk to family and friends, they may be entitled to give you positive feedback, to encourage you with your own business idea. But if you do that, you won't be getting that honest, unfiltered feedback on how to improve your business even more, versus doing it and selling it with strangers where they literally have no clue or no connection with you. So if you do that, you will get that insight as to how else can you improve, or what didn't they like with your product. So something to improve on. And last but definitely not the least is to scale and create your financial model. When you were doing your pilot, were you earning every time you sell one more piece of that product, or were you losing? That's something that you need to look at, because if you are losing every time you sell one, it means there might be something that you need to edit on that. If you want to be a restaurant owner, it could be changing or tweaking a few ingredients which will cost less. Or if you want to produce something, maybe look for another raw material that won't cost as much as what you're currently using now. Because at the end of the day, what you want is for your business to be operationally efficient. A very popular example of a pilot test is going to food parks. So if you're an aspiring restaurateur, the likes of Mercato or Bancheto are perfect avenues for you to test whether or not being in the business is for you. Before you invest in a lease or very expensive rate in space, it gives you an avenue to connect with your potential consumers on whether or not they like your restaurant idea, do they like your food, or is there something that needs to be tweaked kasi hindi siya akma sa panglasa nila. The first metric for your pilot test is of course profit. During the duration of your test, were you able to earn money or kumita ka ba? Kasi at the end of the day, what you want is to see that your money goes back to you and in gains. So, or even, was there a potential for you to earn during the long term? So, second is a growing customer base. So, for the people who actually knew about your business idea, did they buy into it or did they buy your product? And once they bought your product, did they show any sign that they wanted to buy it again? And if they are showing any signs that they wanted to buy it again, did they say that they were going to recommend it to friends or family or any other connections that they have? In the business world, we call it the customer retention model. So it's a funnel where you can see out of all the people who knew your product, how many are more likely to buy it again and again and be advocates of your business. That is what you need to look for when you have your own pilot test. Did it show any sign that people will actually recommend it to others? Because once you do that, then that's one step into getting people to buy into whatever product that you're selling. And third, and I think is the most underrated of all metrics, is owner satisfaction. Were you as a business owner satisfied of your pilot test? Were you happy with what was the results? If not, then you look at what's the source of that dissatisfaction. Is that source something that you can tweak in terms of your business idea? Something that can be addressed? Or if not, maybe you need to rethink whether or not being a business owner is really for you. So it's very scary to put yourself out there, but doing a pilot test is very important because it helps you determine whether or not you really want this business to happen. So as long as you put yourself out there and don't fall in love with your idea too much, listen to what your numbers are telling you and what the feedback of your consumers are. So I hope those pointers help on whether or not you're going to pursue that business idea. Thank you.